Okay, let's dive in. You might actually be surprised to hear this, but the global market for urinary incontinence treatment devices, it's estimated to hit USD 780 million in 2025.
Yeah, that's a pretty hefty number, 3.78 billion.
It really is. And, a number that big, it points to something significant, doesn't it?
Mm.
A real, often unspoken need for a lot of people globally.
Absolutely. It's not just about the dollars. I mean, that's impressive, but what it represents is key. It shows a large and, importantly, growing number of people looking for solutions.
Solutions for something that can, well, really impact day-to-day life, quality of life.
Definitely.
So for this deep dive, we've gone through the Global Urinary Incontinence Treatment Devices Market Report 2025. Our goal is to pull out the key insights for you.
Think of it as getting a clear snapshot of this specific healthcare area. It's about the finances, sure, but also the human side and the tech that's developing.
Exactly. It's a fascinating window, really, into how societies are aging, how healthcare is shifting, and how fast medical tech is moving to keep up.
Hmm. A lot of interconnected trends.
So our mission today,
Mhm.
understand where this market is now, where it's headed, what's pushing that growth, and who the main players are.
Right. Let's get into the specifics then. That 2025 number, USD 780 million, the report confirms that.
It does. And the growth projected from there is really quite something.
That's where it gets particularly interesting.
By 2033, they're forecasting it to reach USD 476.7 million.
Wow, so nearly doubling.
Yeah, it's a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR, of 8.90% starting from 2025.
Mhm.
Kind of consistent growth.
Well, it tells a story.
It really does. So what's behind that? What are the main things driving this expansion?
Good question. The report points to a few key things coming together. First off, the aging global population.
Right, that makes sense. As people live longer, age-related conditions, including this one, become more common.
We all kind of see that happening around us, don't we?
We do. And then there are dietary and lifestyle changes, plus rising rates of things like obesity and diabetes.
Okay. So conditions that are known contributors. Exactly. And as those health trends continue, the demand for treatments for these devices is naturally going to increase too.
So it's tied directly to these big global health shifts affecting millions. Okay, let's break it down geographically. Where's the demand biggest right now?
Right now in 2025, North America is definitely the leader. It accounts for over 40% of the market.
For 40%. Okay,
Yeah.
what's the dollar figure on that?
That's about USD 1398.60 million. Europe is next, holding over 30%, which comes out to USD 2096.20 million.
So North America and Europe are clearly the dominant regions currently. What about the rest of the world?
Well, Asia Pacific, or APAC, that's around 23% of the market, about USD 907.20 million in 2025.
Yeah.
Then you have South America, a bit over 5%, so USD 143.64 million. The Middle East is around 2%, USD 151.20 million.
And Africa?
Africa is about 1%, roughly USD 83.16 million. So smaller shares there.
That gives a good picture of the current split.
Right.
But growth rates are different, right? The report talks about future growth projections.
Yes, and that's a really important point. While North America leads now in share, the fastest growth is expected elsewhere.
Or is that?
In the Asia-Pacific region, they're projected to see a CAGR of 11.7% between 2025 and 2033.
11.7%. That's significantly higher than the overall market rate. What's driving that acceleration in APAC?
The report links it directly to the rise of chronic diseases there. Specifically, diabetes is mentioned as a big factor.
Diabetes, okay.
Yeah, highlights India's really high rates of diabetes as, a key reason for the growing need for these kinds of treatment devices in that region.
That's a very specific connection. So North America leads today, but watch out for Asia Pacific in the coming years. Okay, let's pivot to the actual devices. What are the main types we're talking about?
Sure. The report breaks it down into key product segments. You've got urethral slings,
Oh, yeah.
electrical stimulation devices, artificial urinary sphincters, and catheters.
Quite a range.
Right.
From sort of mechanical support to more electronic interventions. Which type is leading the pack right now?
Currently, urethral slings have the biggest market share.
And why is that?
Mostly because they've proven really effective for treating stress urinary incontinence. And that's a very, very common type.
Stress incontinence.
Yeah.
That's the leakage from coughing, sneezing, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Makes sense that a good solution for something so widespread would dominate. What about the fastest growing product type? Is it also slings?
Interestingly, no. The report actually points to catheters as the fastest growing segment.
Catheters. Why the rapid growth there?
It seems closely tied to the increasing number of people living with chronic neurological conditions.
Ah, conditions that affect bladder function.
Precisely, and those often require catheters for ongoing management.
Another clear link between broader health trends and device needs.
Right.
Now, the market's also looked at by the type of incontinence itself, right?
Yes, exactly. The main types covered are stress urinary incontinence, urge urinary incontinence, mixed incontinence, and overflow incontinence.
And I'm guessing, based on the sling dominance, that stress UI holds the biggest share here too.
You got it. It holds the largest share by incontinence type, which again just underlines how common it is, especially, with aging or after childbirth for women.
Right. Are any of the other types showing particularly strong growth?
Yes, the urge urinary incontinence segment, that one's growing rapidly.
Urge incontinence.
Mm.
That's the sudden strong need to go, often linked to OAB.
Exactly, overactive bladder.
Oh,
And as we talked about with the aging population globally, OAB is becoming more prevalent.
so more OAB means more demand for treatments targeting that urge incontinence. Okay, let's think about where these treatments happen. Who are the end users?
The report outlines the main end user segments: hospitals, ambulatory surgery centers, ASCs, clinics, and also home use.
And where does the bulk of the treatment take place currently?
Hospitals hold the largest share right now.
Why hospitals mainly?
It's usually because the more complex or severe cases, the ones needing maybe more advanced surgery or specialized care, tend to be handled in a hospital setting.
Okay, that makes sense for the bigger interventions. But I remember seeing something about another setting growing quickly.
Yes, absolutely. Ambulatory surgery centers, the ASCs, they're seeing really rapid growth in this market.
And the reason for that shift towards ASCs.
It ties into another trend we've touched on, the increasing preference for minimally invasive procedures.
Ah, right.
Many incontinence procedures, especially the less complex ones, can be done safely and more efficiently in an ASC setting, less resource intensive.
Minimally invasive is definitely a recurring theme.
Hmm.
Let's dig into the overall market drivers again. We mentioned demographics, related health conditions. What else is really pushing this market forward?
Well, that aging global population is just such a massive factor. The report references WHO data,
Oh, yeah?
projecting that the number of people aged 60 and over is set to double by 2050.
Double.
Yeah.
It's staggering. It really puts the long-term need into perspective.
It really does. And that naturally drives demand for solutions like these. Another key driver is that demand for minimally invasive options we just discussed.
Right, the ASC growth highlighted that.
Yeah. Patients prefer them, doctors prefer them often too. Lower risk of complications, usually faster recovery, and potentially lower overall healthcare costs.
So it's a win-win-win in many cases.
Right?
Medical advances meeting patient preference, and maybe some economic sense too. Okay, but, it can't all be smooth sailing. Are there things holding the market back? Restraints.
Yes, the report does point out some hurdles. A big one is cost.
The cost of the devices themselves.
Yes, particularly the more advanced ones. Things like sacral nerve stimulation implants, artificial sphincters, some laser therapies. They can be quite expensive.
And that creates access issues, I imagine.
It definitely can. Affordability is a barrier for many, and then you have the variability in insurance coverage, which adds another layer of complexity that can limit growth.
A really crucial point. Need is one thing, access and affordability are another. Okay, looking ahead now, what are the big trends shaping this market? What's next?
Technology, for sure. Huge advancements there. We're seeing more integration of AI and machine learning
AI.
for things like real-time monitoring, making treatments more personalized. Also, wearable sensors for incontinence detection and management.
Wearables, okay. Makes sense.
And there's expanding use of minimally invasive neuromodulation therapies like sacral nerve stimulation, SNS, and tibial nerve stimulation, TNS. Laser therapies, too.
So, smarter tech, less invasive approaches.
Definitely. And another trend is non-invasive wearable neuromodulation devices that people can actually use at home.
Ah, the shift to home healthcare. We see that everywhere.
Exactly. More convenience, maybe better adherence to therapy.
So who are the companies driving all this? Who are the main competitors?
Well, the market's definitely responding to that demand for advanced, less invasive solutions. The report lists several key players. Let's see, Becton Dickinson, Boston Scientific, B. Braun.
Big names?
Yeah, Caldera Medical, Coloplast, Convatec, Hollister, Medtronic, another giant Promadon, Teleflex, and Zephyr Surgical Implants. A mix of major medical device companies and specialists.
Any recent notable moves among them? Acquisitions or big studies?
Yes, actually. In January 2024, Boston Scientific announced they're acquiring Axonics, Inc.
Axonics. They do sacral neuromodulation, right?
That's them. So that deal is expected to really boost Boston Scientific's urology portfolio. A significant move.
M&A activity like that definitely reshapes the landscape.
Yeah.
Anything on the R&D front? New device trials.
The report mentions Medtronic's Titan 2 study. That was from March 2022.
Titan 2.
Yeah.
What's that evaluating?
It's looking at an implantable tibial neuromodulation device. The idea is continuous therapy for bladder incontinence, potentially cutting down on clinic visits.
Interesting. So ongoing innovation alongside the business strategy. Okay, just to wrap up the regional picture, clearly remind us who's biggest now and who's growing fastest.
Right. So North America had the largest share in 2025. The report suggests that's partly due to higher prevalence among women there, plus advances in female-specific treatment.
Got it. And the fastest growth trajectory.
That's Asia-Pacific, expected to have the highest AGR, driven largely by that increasing prevalence of chronic conditions like diabetes, especially noting the situation in India.
Okay, great summary. So if we pull it all together from this deep dive, we've got a really substantial global market here for urinary incontinence devices, and it's growing quite fast.
Yeah.
North America leads now, but APAC is the one to watch for speed. Product-wise, urethral slings are dominant, but catheters are growing quickest. Stress incontinence is the main type treated, but urge incontinence is rising.
Right. And treatments are mostly in hospitals, but ASCs are gaining ground fast, thanks to minimally invasive trends.
Driven by that aging population and the demand for those less invasive procedures, though cost is still a factor for some advanced tech.
And technology is pushing forward AI, wearables, neuromodulation.
So as we wrap up, here's something to think about. With the world aging like it is and this growing focus on quality of life, how are these ongoing tech advancements and hopefully better access going to change things in the next decade?
Yeah, what are the implications for individuals, for healthcare systems globally?
It's a big question. This report gives a great snapshot, but you can see how digging into specific devices or regions would uncover even more.
Definitely a dynamic field to keep an eye on.